Hello everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. This video is going to be mostly dedicated to Pandas library and Jupyter notebook environment. So we'll be learning how to install Pandas onto our system as well as Jupyter notebook, and then we'll be downloading a CSV file, and then we'll be performing a couple of Pandas operations on top of that. So let's get started. So first step in the process would be to install Pandas library. So I have been using a MacBook or a Linux which has a Unix environment. If you are using a Linux or a Windows, still you can still use these commands to install your Pandas library. So in order to do that, you just have to type pip install pandas. So it will install the pandas library of the latest version that is available from the pip environment. uh, and likewise you can also install Jupyter notebook. Just type in Jupyter lab, pip install Jupyter lab. This will install the latest Jupyter client as well as Jupyter server Jupyter library from the pip environment. Since I've already installed these things, I'm not going to reinstall it. For the sake of demonstration, I'm going to show you that these libraries are installed and whatever versions that I'm going to use. So pandas version I have of 0.24.1, and Jupyter version I have of 1.0.0. Now the next thing that we'll be going to use is how to start a Jupyter notebook server. So in order to do that, you just have to type in Jupyter space notebook space. You can type in minus minus browser equal the whatever browser of your choice that you are very comfortable to be using. So I'm gonna go with the Chrome. You can set in whatever browser if you want, or if you may even choose to ignore the minus minus browser equal Chrome options entirely. So this is just for my comfort. You can choose to ignore it. Now one more important thing to note here is that if you press it, just enter after that, after writing the entire command, the the server is going to get started onto your current shell, and as long as the shell is active, your notebook will be active, and if you kill this shell, then your notebook will be gone. The Because that notebook is basically being run or being captured or is being supported by the current server or the current shell. So in order to make a Jupyter notebook server keep running in the background, you just have to type in ampersand after that, and this will ensure that the Jupyter server is being running in the background, and even if you close the current shell, still the process would keep running. So I'm going to go ahead and type that and press enter. So here 3901 is basically the process ID for the Jupyter server, and the notebook server is basically running at the port 8888. So if you go ahead and look at uh, at um, the couple of directories which are available in the current folder, in the current directory. So right now I was in my desktop directory. In order to move to pandas tutorials, I have created a pandas tutorial folder, so I'm going to go ahead and move to that. Here I've already downloaded a CSV file for the sake of this tutorial. You can go ahead and download any CSV file as you may like, but for my um, demonstration or my understanding, I'm going to go ahead and just use the CSV files for download from this stats.government.new Zealand. I think that's a New Zealand directory, a website, sorry. So I've already downloaded and I've copied the CSV file over here. The next thing I'm gonna go ahead and start is create a Python notebook. So just press on this new button, and there are a bunch of other options to create. You can create a text file, you can create a folder, or maybe even start a terminal. They are over here. And then here is the Python 3 notebook kernel available. So just press over there and you will be able to see a new notebook that's being spawned for you. You can change the name of your notebook over here, and I'm gonna set it as pandas tutorial 1. Once you have done that, you can see these are the different shells which are available in the Jupyter notebook. So if you have not watched my Jupyter notebook and tutorial, you can go ahead and see that. I'll be keeping a link of that in the description, and if not, then you can search it in my channel. So so I'll be just starting on how to import the pandas library over here. So in order to do that, you just have to type pandas import pandas as pd. So as PD is basically an alias to the pandas library, is like a reference, and that's as per the naming convention that is basically mostly followed by machine learning or data scientist folks in the industry. So you can go ahead and type that and press shift enter in order to execute that cell, and after that the pandas library is now available into my current notebooks environment. Now, in order to load the CSV file, you just have to create a variable to load or keep a reference to that that CSV file into a data frame. So I'm gonna go and create a variable called def equals pd dot and then read. And if you press tab after that, you can see there are a bunch of different a bunch of file formats that are supported by the pandas library, such as Pandas Clipboard, Pandas CSV, Excel, Feather, HDF, HTML, JSON, Parquet. So a bunch of different files which are available that you can use these functions to read special types of files using Pandas library. So since we have a CSV file right now, we will be going ahead and use CSV and then pass it the path to your file. So I have this electronic card transactions March 2020 CSV table CSV file. I'm gonna go ahead and type that and press shift enter. Now the entire thing is basically loaded into my notebook now. So if you press df and press shift enter, you can see that the whatever that is present inside your df object. So right now if you scroll down, you can see that there are a bunch of different rows, and in the bottom you can see that it has 16,805 rows and 14 columns. The first column is basically the index, which is called in the pandas in the data frame sense. So this reflects the number of rows or special rows indicators for your data frame, and the top row is basically the whatever columns that are present in the bold in your data frame. So currently this CSV file has 14 columns and 16,000 something rows. Now, in order to view all of the rows, you will not be able to see all of them here in the Jupyter Notebook environment because of the utility, because of the default settings that are available in the Jupyter. So, in order to change those settings, you can type in pd.set_option and then type in display.max rows or columns, whatever number of rows or columns you are unable to see, and set it to some value. So let's say I want to see top 1,000 rows into my Jupyter notebook at time. Then just type in pd.set_option display.max was 1,000, and if you press shift enter on df cell again, you should be able to see at least top 1,000 rows into your notebook environment now. So once you have done that, you can set it likewise for the columns as well to whatever number that you may like. So currently I have only 14 columns and I'm able to see all of the columns in my notebook environment, so I'm not going to go and change it to some number. But if it may happen that your CSV file has lot many columns, you can change it to some number. So now we have done that. Let's go ahead and see what are the different attributes that are supported by this data frame object. So one such thing is of a df.shape. It will tell you the number of rows and columns that are present in your data frame. The next attribute is df.info, and followed by a parenthesis, open and close. If you press shift enter, it will tell you whatever columns that are present, followed by the number of rows which are non-null that are present in that specific column, followed by the data type that is present for that column. So as you can see here, the different data types which are present in the data frame are float 64, int 64, object, and 8. So the number after that is basically the number of columns that are of that different data type of kind. So for object there are eight columns. In 64 it's only one column. Float 64 there are only 5 columns, followed by the memory usage of the data frame into your notebook. So once you've done that, you can also just type in df.dtypes in order to get the different data types that are available for all of the columns. So if you can see over here, object is basically containing the string data types for series reference column. Period is float 64. Data value is float 64, which is basically the decimal numbers over here. One such column is of magnitude, wherein its data type is int 64. It's basically containing all the integer values in it. So once you have done that, there are a bunch of other options that you can try out, while you are exploring your data or your data frame. One such example is of df.head. So it will print out the top 5 rows from your data frame. You can pass in some number over here in order to get top 100 or top 1000 or top whatever number of rows that you want. Similarly, you can type in df.tail, and it will tell you the top bottommost 5 rows from your data frame. Now, if you want to get the random samples from your data frame, you can also type df.sample and pass in some number, like maybe 10 rows from your data frame. So it will tell you, it will print some random 10 rows from your entire data frame in this fashion. So that's all for this video. We'll be creating another videos wherein we'll be talking about how to perform filtering operations on top of the columns and also on the rows, along with a bunch of other attributes which are available from the data frame or the pandas object. So keep watching my channel, and in case you like my videos, do subscribe or maybe share with someone who might be interested in watching pandas libraries or pandas tutorials in particular. All right, folks, thank you. Bye.